Northwood Mall, a once thriving shopping center, had seen better days. Its fading facade hid the memories of countless shoppers who had walked its halls. Little did I know that a trip to this seemingly abandoned mall would lead to a harrowing true mall horror story. My friends and I, intrigued by the mall's eerie reputation, decided to explore it one Friday night. The mall had been closed for years, a victim of changing retail landscapes, but rumors of strange occurrences and ghostly apparitions had persisted. As we entered the dimly lit mall, the air was heavy with a musty odor, and the sound of our footsteps echoed through the empty corridors. It was as if the mall had frozen in time, with storefronts still displaying faded advertisements from the past. We wandered deeper into the mall, drawn by a sense of nostalgia mixed with dread. The once vibrant stores were now nothing but abandoned shells, their windows covered in layers of grime. Flickering fluorescent lights added to the eerie ambience. As we explored, strange things began to happen. We heard faint whispers, as if voices from the past were trying to communicate with us. Shadows moved at the corners of our vision, and the temperature seemed to drop suddenly, creating an unnatural chill. Curiosity led us to the mall's central atrium, where an ornate, antique carousel stood in haunting stillness. The carousel's painted horses had a lifelike quality, their eyes following us with an eerie intensity. The sound of distant, ghostly laughter filled the air. Suddenly, the carousel came to life with a jolt, its creaky music echoing through the atrium. The horses began to spin, their painted eyes now blazing with an otherworldly light. Panic set in as we realized there was no one operating the ride. We ran through the mall's twisting corridors, trying to find an exit, but the layout seemed to shift and change, as if the mall itself was toying with us. We heard the laughter of children, their voices echoing from unseen corners, and the whispering grew louder, more urgent. Desperation set in as we realized we were trapped. The mall had become a labyrinth of terror with no way out. As we huddled in a darkened store, we felt a presence closing in around us, an oppressive force that seemed to feed on our fear. Just when we had lost all hope, the mall fell silent. The carousel stopped, the shadows receded, and the temperature returned to normal. It was as if the malevolent presence had released us from its grip. We fled the mall, vowing never to return. To this day, we can't explain the true horror we experienced that night, the haunting of Northwood Mall, where the past seemed to come alive with a malevolent intent, and the boundary between reality and the supernatural blurred in terrifying ways. Once a bustling shopping paradise, Wonderland Mall had now become a decaying labyrinth of forgotten memories. Its empty halls and faded storefronts were a stark contrast to its former glory. Little did I know that my visit to this abandoned mall would lead to a true mall horror story that defied explanation. One gloomy afternoon, my curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to explore the abandoned mall with a group of friends. We had heard the legends, the strange noises, the ghostly apparitions, and the unsettling feeling that something lingered in the empty halls. As we entered the mall, the air was thick with an eerie stillness. The flickering fluorescent lights cast unsettling shadows, and the once vibrant stores were now covered in layers of dust and graffiti. We began our exploration, our footsteps echoing through the desolate corridors. The silence was broken only by the creaking of our footsteps and the distant sound of dripping water. The mall felt frozen in time, a relic of a bygone era. As we ventured deeper into the mall, we heard faint whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. The whispers spoke of lost souls and trapped spirits, and they sent shivers down our spines. We dismissed them as mere tricks of the imagination. Our journey led us to the mall's central atrium, where a massive ornate chandelier hung from the ceiling. It swayed gently, as if moved by an unseen hand. The sight was both mesmerizing and unnerving, and we couldn't tear our eyes away. Suddenly, the chandelier swung violently, its crystal prisms clinking together in a cacophonous symphony. We watched in horror as it plummeted from the ceiling, crashing to the ground below with a deafening crash. We ran for our lives, our hearts pounding with fear. But the layout of the mall seemed to shift and change, trapping us in a nightmarish maze. The whispers grew louder, more desperate, as if the mall itself were alive with malevolent intent. Desperation set in as we encountered bizarre sights, a storefront filled with mannequins that seemed to watch us with lifeless eyes, an escalator that moved in the wrong direction, and a food court where the tables and chairs rearranged themselves in eerie patterns. Just when we had lost all hope, the mall fell silent. The whispers ceased, and the layout returned to normal. We stumbled out of the abandoned Wonderland Mall, vowing never to return. To this day, we can't explain the true horror that lurked within those decaying walls, a mall that seemed to come alive with supernatural forces, where the past refused to remain buried and the line between reality and the paranormal blurred in terrifying ways. Crestwood Mall was once the heart of our suburban community, a place where families shopped, teenagers gathered, and memories were made. But as it slowly fell into disrepair and was abandoned, it became the setting for a true mall horror story that would haunt my dreams. One autumn evening, my friends and I decided to explore the decaying mall. We had heard rumors of strange happenings within its empty halls, whispers in the dark, ghostly apparitions, and a pervasive feeling of unease. We were determined to uncover the truth. As we entered the mall, the fading sunlight barely penetrated the grimy windows, casting eerie shadows on the cracked tiles. The once bustling stores now lay in ruins, their shelves empty, and their mannequins broken and disfigured. We ventured deeper into the mall, the air thick with silence broken only by the distant sound of dripping water. Graffiti covered the walls, and the flickering fluorescent lights overhead added to the unsettling atmosphere. As we explored, we began to hear faint whispers that seemed to come from all around us. The whispers spoke of lost souls and a malevolent presence that roamed the mall. We dismissed them as mere figments of our imagination. Our journey led us to the mall's cavernous food court, where tables and chairs sat in disarray, frozen in time. A strange stillness hung in the air, and we couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. Suddenly, a chilling breeze swept through the food court, extinguishing the flickering candles on the tables. The temperature plummeted, and we saw our breath in the frigid air. Panic set in as we realized that something unnatural was happening. We attempted to leave, but the layout of the mall seemed to change before our eyes, twisting and distorting the corridors, trapping us in a nightmarish maze. The whispers grew louder, more desperate, as if the mall itself were trying to communicate with us. As we stumbled through the shifting labyrinth, we encountered bizarre sights: a toy store where dolls moved on their own, a cinema where eerie shadows danced across the empty screens, and a music store where forgotten melodies played on broken instruments. Desperation set in as we realized there was no way out. It was as if Crestwood Mall had become a living, malevolent entity determined to keep us within its decaying walls. Just when we thought we were trapped forever, the mall fell silent. The whispers ceased, and the layout returned to normal. We fled the abandoned Crestwood Mall, vowing never to return. To this day, we can't explain the true horror that lurked within those crumbling halls, a mall that seemed to come alive with supernatural forces, where the past refused to remain buried, and the line between reality and the paranormal blurred in terrifying ways. Once a thriving shopping destination, the Oak Ridge Mall had now fallen into disrepair, its halls echoing with the ghosts of shoppers past. It was a place I had visited countless times in my childhood, but one fateful night would turn my trip to the mall into a true horror story. My friends and I, fueled by curiosity and a desire for adventure, decided to explore the abandoned Oak Ridge Mall. We had heard the rumors, the strange noises, the eerie apparitions, and the unsettling feeling that something lurked within its deserted corridors. As we entered the mall, the once bright atrium was shrouded in darkness. Broken glass and debris littered the floor, and the once thriving stores were now empty, their windows covered in dust and grime. We ventured further, our footsteps echoing through the desolate corridors. The silence was broken only by the occasional creaking of the aging structure and the faint sound of dripping water. It felt as though time had stopped within those decaying walls. As we explored, we began to hear whispers, a soft, haunting voice that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. The whispers spoke of forgotten memories and lost souls, and they sent shivers down our spines. We dismissed them as mere tricks of the mind. Our journey led us to the mall's central atrium, where a massive ornate chandelier hung from the ceiling. It swayed gently, casting eerie shadows on the cracked marble floor. The sight was both mesmerizing and unsettling, and we couldn't tear our eyes away. Suddenly, the chandelier came to life, its crystal prisms catching the dim light. It began to swing violently, as if controlled by an unseen force, and a haunting melody filled the air. We watched in horror as the chandelier spun faster and faster, its music growing louder, until it finally crashed to the ground with a deafening crash. Panic set in, and we tried to flee, but the layout of the mall seemed to shift and change, trapping us in a nightmarish maze. The whispers grew louder, more frantic, as if the very walls were trying to communicate with us. Desperation overcame us as we encountered bizarre sights: a clothing store where mannequins moved on their own, a toy store where long-forgotten dolls whispered in eerie voices, and a carousel that spun without anyone at the controls. Just when we thought we were lost forever, the mall fell silent. The whispers ceased, and the layout returned to normal. We stumbled out of the Oak Ridge Mall, vowing never to return. To this day, we can't explain the true horror that lurked within those decaying walls, a mall that seemed to come alive with supernatural forces, where the past refused to remain buried, and the line between reality and the paranormal blurred in terrifying ways.